Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we will analyze a highly sensitive geopolitical and military development. Russia has deployed a MiG-31 fighter jet capable of carrying the hypersonic Kinzhal missile right up to the vicinity of Tallinn, the capital of Estonia, a NATO member state. This maneuver is seen as a dangerous test for both the European Union and NATO. But before turning to this dramatic episode, let us first review the situation on the battlefield in Ukraine, where significant changes are now unfolding. The war in Ukraine. On the Kupiansk front, a critical transportation hub in the Kharkiv region, Russia is intensifying its pressure. Russian forces are concentrating around the villages of Rakipka and Holubivka, forcing Ukraine to stretch its defenses thin. A Ukrainian lawmaker even admitted that a simmering disaster is unfolding, accusing the command in Kyiv of deliberately concealing the true situation on the ground. Ukraine is still struggling to hold Kupiansk, but counterattacks are becoming increasingly difficult. Uh, should the city fall, the next defensive line at Chup and even Kharkiv itself, just 100 kilometers away, would face serious threat. However, with a significant Ukrainian force still inside the urban area, it remains uncertain whether Russia can capture the city in the coming days. On the Pokrovsk front, the situation is equally intense. Russia claims to have seized several additional key positions while introducing a new tactic, employing UAVs to sever Ukraine's supply lines. Notably, the Rubicon drone unit, previously responsible for forcing Ukrainian withdrawals at Kreminna, has reemerged, now posing a serious nightmare for Ukraine's logistics routes. These UAVs are almost immune to electronic warfare. Ukrainian soldiers, speaking in desperation, admitted, "We cannot see Russia's drones, but they can always see us. The only thing we can do is hide." In reality, Russia's dominance in drone warfare is crippling Ukraine's logistics, encircling its forces, and keeping its troops in a constant state of fear. Many villages, and even the city of Konstantinivka, are now nearly abandoned, with streets covered by anti-drone nets, a scene unprecedented in modern warfare. But ladies and gentlemen, the most shocking development comes from the Baltic skies. Within the past 24 hours, 3 Russian MiG-31s unexpectedly entered Estonian airspace, approaching to within just 9 kilometers of the capital, Tallinn. The incursion lasted for 12 minutes, far longer than previous incidents, which typically lasted only seconds or a few minutes. However, what raises the greatest concern is that Russia's MiG-31 interceptor, when paired with the hypersonic Kinzhal missile, is considered one of the most formidable weapons in existence today. With a top speed of Mach 2.8 and an operational ceiling above 20 kilometers, the MiG-31 can carry the Kinzhal, a missile capable of reaching speeds of up to Mach 10, with a range of roughly 2,000 kilometers and the potential to carry a nuclear warhead. This combination allows Russia to strike strategic targets from great distances, virtually beyond the reach of current air defense systems, giving Moscow a dominant deterrence advantage in modern warfare. It is no coincidence that this incident occurred immediately after the joint Russia-Belarus military exercises. Analysts believe this reflects a salami-slicing strategy, probing and provoking step by step, yet carefully avoiding crossing red lines that could trigger full-scale war. Looking at the broader picture, this is not the first time Russia has employed low-cost, yet highly effective tactics. Previously, nearly 20 UAVs, each costing only a few $1,000s, penetrated the airspace of Poland and Romania, forcing NATO to spend millions of dollars launching interceptor missiles. A stark asymmetry is at play. Russia spends only a few $100,000, yet compels NATO to pay tens of times more in response. The objective is not outright destruction, but rather to sow confusion, forcing NATO to disperse its resources and divert attention, reducing aid to Ukraine in order to focus on its own defense. This has left President Zelensky deeply frustrated. He openly criticized Poland and voiced concern that many of the European Union's defense aid packages are being redirected to NATO's eastern flank, rather than reaching Kyiv. Ladies and gentlemen, from low-cost UAVs to MiG-31s armed with Kinzhals, Russia is proving that modern warfare is no longer defined solely by tank divisions or missile batteries, but also by the art of asymmetric strategy. A single daring sortie can send shockwaves through NATO. A drone worth just a few $1,000s can force the adversary to spend millions. More importantly, this approach is leaving Ukraine increasingly isolated on the battlefield. The pressing question is, how will NATO and the West respond to Russia's growing audacity? Will they choose escalation or continue to avoid direct confrontation? We will have to wait and see how events unfold. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and enable notifications so you won't miss our latest analyses on global geopolitical and military affairs. Goodbye, and see you in the next video. And don't forget to leave a like and share this video to support us in producing the next episodes.